So I think there is that definite cultural viewpoint on money. And I kind of proved that point when I'm at an event and I'll say to everyone in the room, I said, what would you think if a 23-year-old or a 22-year-old, fresh off his P's, rocked up at the service station next to you in a brand new Lamborghini? Like, what would you think? I go, what's the first thing you guys all think about as you're pumping diesel into your Navara Ute or Toyota Ute, whatever it is, in a room full of tradies and builders, mind you, for context?
No, not accountants.
Not accountants.
Yeah.
Because accountants drive Mercedes.
LDVs.
LDVs, yes. So what would you think? And you go around the room and it's always the same answer. Like, we've done this a few times and it's always the same.
Do you think that's because they have a negative association to money?
There's a condition for it though. There's been a level of conditioning for it.
Yeah, of course.
Because you see a Lamborghini, like you're driving $1 million car around. Like, there is that association to wealth when you're driving a supercar of that nature around, for sure. So
of course, yes.
Most people would look at that and it's the same things: drug dealer, mummy, daddy's money, crypto, I know whatever else there is that they tend to come
criminal.
up with. Yeah, he's a criminal. He's in
yeah. But so okay. My question is, do you? This is going to ruin everything you bet. So
no, maybe not. No, good. Like, this is the discussion because
do you think it would be okay if you took 30 people? Well, continue the rest of the story because I know what you're about to say. So everyone understands.
Okay. And I suppose the next thing that we say thereafter is like, oh, that's interesting. I go, it's so far out of the realm of your conceivable reality that this person has done something ethically, worked hard, sacrificed, did something that no one else has done to be able to afford a vehicle like that. And honestly have worked harder than anyone else and smarter than anyone else to have been able to afford that. That you look at him in a way that goes, no, you only did that because you did something wrong or bad.
But so you don't think that it's more of a likelihood thing? Like, do you not think that right now? So you see a guy pull up.
A young guy.
Yeah. It's a great question, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to ask it. So is there, I mean, it's possible. We're not saying it's impossible that he's a drug dealer or that he stole it or it's his friend's car or his dad's car or it was given to him or whatever. That is a possibility. But there also is a very strong possibility that that's not the case too.
Yes.
Even if he's, maybe he's not 23, maybe he's 30. Like, okay, so there's still, because a lot of people look at that and go, fuck, I've been working so hard. I work hard. I do everything right. I try to make the right moves. I do this, and I still can't afford a car. Like I see how hard it is to get that. I see that. It shits me that I don't have that, and this person does. It must be easy or it must be nice. And then I think that just snowball effects as well.
Yeah.
Whereas, and it's like you see the other flip side where you see an older man in it. You know, it's like he's worked all his life, and now he's can finally afford that dream car, that Ferrari, that Lambo, or whatever.
And then like he's having a midlife crisis.
Yeah.
No, he can just afford it now.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but like, okay, so I like to think in extremes, like absolute extremes, right? And it's like the opposite of what you're saying is to say that it would be a really good thing if you saw a 22-year-old pull up in a Lambo and you're like, it looks like he most likely built a company. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like, no, most likely, very innocent, very hardworking, super smart. He built a company, just crushing it, most likely.
Yeah.
And it's like, is that smart?
Yeah, what serves you better, I suppose, in that instance? Like, is it going to serve you to say negative, or is it going to serve you to think the positive? Like, what's going to serve you in that instance? The answer is you don't know unless you ask him. And then if he's going to be completely honest with you too at the same token, because he could be a drug dealer and said, oh, you know, I work hard and I trade on the stock exchange and whatever.
Yeah, and you never know.
Yeah, you would never know. So
yeah, that's a good way.
I suppose
what serves you.
Yeah, exactly. I look at that and go, I could think he is a drug dealer. I could think he's doing something wrong. Like, I've got young kids that are impressionable, and I've done this before. Like, we've been driving and my kids spot out. They play games where they say spotto when they hear when they see a yellow car, and there was a yellow Lambo there. And it's like, I asked my son that same question. I said, what do you think when you see that young person driving that car? And he was actually, wasn't too surprised with his response because I kind of knew where he was going with it anyway. And I've seeded him for many years. But he said, he must be really successful in what he does to be able to afford a car like that, because he probably sees the Mr. Beasts and all those YouTubers and people like that having high levels of success. So it's probably a bit more norm to him, and he doesn't have that belief yet. But, my wife, on the other hand, she's like, oh, no, he's clearly a crook or a drug dealer or whatever it might be, and he probably stole it, all that sort of stuff. So she didn't say that out loud to them, but, I know how she thinks. I know how she thinks.
Yeah.
So and look, am I lying if that thought doesn't creep into my head? Like, yes, it has to, because it is a possibility. It is. He could be doing something wrong to have afforded that car, because the likelihood of a 22-year-old having figured that shit out within such a short amount of time after finishing school or whilst being in school there is a lesser likelihood of that too. Let's be honest. But as I said, what serves you in thinking that?
Okay, so what was the outcome with your daughter?
Oh, there was no epiphany or anything like that. It was more just, I just want to give her a bit more of an understanding on wealth. And I will sit down with her and show her something like, GC, have I got my wallet on me? I don't. But Grant Cardone did this with his daughter. I remember on a video when she was a lot younger, and he's like, he was pulling out $100 bills, and he's just sitting there and he's like, cool. He goes, what does this make you happy? Like, this piece of paper, does it make you happy? He's like, no. Okay, cool. Does that make you warm at nighttime? Does that keep you warm? She's like, no. Oh, can you eat this? Will it sustain you? She's like, no. She goes, this is paper. It's useless. Because you can't do anything with this. It is a useless commodity at the moment. Other than me writing on it, I can't do anything with it. He goes, once I use that, then it is useful. He goes, and that's what money is. It's just a tool for us to use, for us to then go out and explore, trade, do whatever we need to do, acquire. And he was also teaching her, saying that you want to get as much of this as you want. As useless as it is as paper, you want as much of it as you possibly can get. You should have millions upon millions of dollars. Because when you have the money, you can send your kids to the best schools. When you have the money, you can go to the best hospital if you need to. Had an operation last week, was in private. It's because I can afford the insurance. I make enough money where I can afford private health insurance, be in my own room, be in the comfort, have the best doctors, not have to wait 6 months, get in a few weeks. And for all of you concerned at home, nothing serious. Don't worry, all good.
Your first operation?
It was my first ever operation in my whole life, in my whole 40 years.
How did they put you to sleep?
Yes. They put a needle in my arm. So I had a hernia above my belly button, guys. Because of all the massive weights that I've been lifting.
Yeah.
Must be the only reason.
Yeah.
And yeah, they put a needle in my arm. It actually, she goes, when they put it in, I remember, I was actually curious to see at what moment am I going to remember being knocked out? And I did. It was cool. So they put it in. She goes, oh, your hand's going to feel really cold in a second. And it did. And I was like, oh, wow. It felt like ice was on my hand, on the back of my hand. And then it actually started to hurt. I go, oh, that actually really hurts. And then I was out. And then I remember closing my eyes and I was like, bang. So that's interesting. But they did have a gas mask on me, but they said it was oxygen, not gas. She goes, she goes, you feel a bit groggy and sick with the gas. She goes, it's much better to do it through the needle. I'm like, okay, cool. So yeah, it was interesting. First time I've ever been under the knife and first time I've ever been knocked out like that.
If you like that clip and you want to watch another one, click just over here. And if you want to watch the full episode, click just over here. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.